Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we are going to continue discussing selection, and we will start by the simple idea. When we wrote if statement in the previous videos, we started with the keyword if, then a condition. And we said the condition can have one of two values, true or false. And we said that this condition is also called Boolean expression. It's basically an expression that can have one of two values, true or false. Now, if I write a statement like this, okay, an if statement like this with a condition that basically check whether a day is Friday or a day is Saturday, I can take this condition, okay, and store it inside a variable. Now, the value of this condition, which again can be true or false, is going to be stored inside a variable. So this variable is also called Boolean variable. Okay, so let's see how to do this in Python. I'm going to basically cut everything here. Then before the if statement, I will write a new variable. I will call it weekend flag equal sign. Then I will paste my Boolean expression or my condition. So now this is assignment statement, right? And as usual, we will start from the right-hand side of the assignment operator. We will evaluate this condition based on the variable day. And this expression will result in one of two values, true or false. And we are going to store this value inside the variable weekend flag. Now, weekend flag can be used inside the if statement just like this. Okay, so when I run this and I enter day to be Wednesday, for example, and I hit enter, now day is Wednesday, so this part of the condition will be false. Also, the second part of the condition will be false. So false or false will result in false, and the variable weekend flag will be equal to false. So when I use it in if statement like this, if false, this will result in skipping this line and jumping to the else branch and printing you have to wait a few more days. Okay. Now when I type Friday, on the other hand, this will be true, weekend flag will be true, and I will print enjoy your weekend. Okay. Now if I print the type of the variable weekend flag, remember the type function is basically giving you the data type of the variable or the value stored in this variable. So if I print the type of weekend flag, what am I going to get? Class bool. Okay. Bool is short for Boolean because weekend flag is a Boolean variable. Now, Boolean variables are also called flags. Okay, because basically flags can have one of two states, either up or true, down or false. So the word flag is often mentioned in programming to refer to basically Boolean variables. Okay, so let's go to the next idea we will discuss today. Now, we mentioned that when you have an OR expression, okay, so if you have, for example, like the example above, you have a condition with two parts that are joined by OR. So in this case, assume I will call the first part A, the second part B, and the entire condition will be A or B. Now, in this case, if I evaluated the first part and it turns out it is false, can I make a decision on the entire expression based on the first value? The answer is no, because if B is false, then A or B will be false. However, if B was true, A or B will be true. So in this case, I cannot make a decision from the value of A. I cannot decide on the entire expression from the value of A, basically, if it was false. However, if A was true, okay, then I don't need to know B. Okay, regardless of B, I don't need to know B. I can immediately decide that A or B, if A was true, A or B will be always true, because one true part is enough inside our expression, right? There is a similar case for the situation of and. So when you have A, B, A and B, and if you know that A is true, you cannot decide on the entire expression, right? Because if B was true, A and B will be true. However, if A is true, however, B is false, the expression will be false. However, if A was false, then you don't need to know B. You can immediately decide that this will be definitely false, because false and anything will lead to false. Now, Python used this idea to basically evaluate conditions or Boolean expression. So let's see. Here you have a condition with and the first part is false. Okay, 6 is not more than 10, so this is false. And since we started with false, we know for sure that the condition will be false. So I will skip this branch and I will print B true, right? However, if I make this to be true, now I have to check the other part, and the other part is leading to an error. So when I run this, I will have zero division error. Notice that I have zero division all the time, right? However, when this was false, there is no error message, right? If this is false, Python will skip the second part because false and anything will lead to false. So Python will not execute this part, the zero division part, so you will not have the error message. However, if the first part is true, you have to check the second part to make sure the entire expression is true or false, and this will lead to the zero division error message. Now, in the case of OR, let's see what will happen. Can you guess whether I will have the error message here or not? So if you have OR here and the first part is true, I will not need to check the second part, so I will skip it. So I will not have the error message and I will print B1. However, again, if this is false, I have to check the second part of the condition to decide on the entire OR expression. And in this case, I will have the error message. So this idea of just using the first bar to decide on the entire expression, if possible, is called short circuit evaluation. So short circuit evaluation means using the first part of the condition to decide on the entire value of the expression, if possible. Okay. So far, any condition we've seen evaluated to true or false. Sometimes when you read other people's code, you will see if conditions like this, where the condition is basically not a Boolean expression, a number or a string. So how can you decide on actually the meaning of this expression? Let's run this and try to basically come up with a guess on how this operates. So notice that I bring test1, which means 3 is treated as true in Python. I don't have test2, which means 0 is treated as false. And I have test3 printed down here, which means this number is treated as true. I don't have test4, which means 0.0 is treated as false. And I don't have test5 as well, which means this empty string is treated as false. And since empty string is treated as false, not false will be true. So I will have this seg printed down here. So basically the rule is any zero or something like a zero, if you will be treated as false. Anything else will be treated as true. The basically other way to think about this is that what are the data types we've seen so far? We've seen int, float, string, and Boolean, right? Each of these data type has something that resemble a zero, something that you can think of as a zero. So in Boolean, the zero in Boolean is simply false. The zero in integer is simply zero. The zero in float is 0.0. And the zero of the string type is the empty string. So any of these values, which basically represent the zero in the corresponding data type, will be treated as false in fx. Okay. Next, we will see some tools you can use to analyze string. Okay, so you have a string, you want to make some decision or analyze basically this or the content of the string. So we'll start by the first tool we have. So assume you have a string like Adam, and you want to decide whether AM, the sequence or the string AM, is part of the larger string Adam. You can use the n operator, okay? This is an operator, just like addition and multiplication. It's an operator in Python. If you put it between two strings, you are basically telling Python, please check if this string on the left is part of the string on the right. Now, this is a Boolean expression, so it will result in a true or false. Let's see this in code. If I read name from the user, okay, and basically I'm telling the user, enter your name to check if it contains the letter M in it. Then I will write fn in a string in the string name. Then print, yes, your name has the letter M. So when I run this and I type, for example, Ali, okay, there is no M in this string, so this will be false. And I will skip the first branch, jump to the else branch, and print the second bracket. However, if I type Adam, this actually has M, so you will have, yes, your name has the letter M. So this is the first tool to analyze a string. The second tool is basically the inverse of the first one. You have N and you have not N. So here I will ask the user to enter the name, to enter his name, basically to check if it is free from the letter E. So when I type Ali again, you are basically asking, E is not in Ali, yes or no? Obviously, yes, E is not in Ali, so this will evaluate to true, and you will print, yes, your name is free from the letter E. However, when I entered something like egg, now E not in egg is false because E is in fact inside the string egg. So this will be false and you will print your name as E. All right. So the coming tools, okay, we mentioned that this is, or this tool here N is an operator. The coming tools will be what we call methods, okay, or I will use the name functions. Okay, coming tool are methods. Accurate name is method. However, we didn't discuss method yet, so I'm going to call them functions just for the time being, unless the main method is clear for everyone. Okay, so we are going to go over many string functions that are helpful in analyzing strings. So let's see the first one. The first one is count, which will basically count the occurrences of certain string inside a larger string. So here I'm asking the user to enter a word to check how many times the string FO appears in it. So if I enter the word for, okay, it's obvious that FO appears once inside for. So count will basically return one, and you will store it inside this variable. Okay, and this variable is called foo count. Now, when I run this, I should have the number one. There are one foo in your word. If I entered foo, just like this, there are two occurrences of this substring inside this larger string. So I will have the number two as a result. Now, one important thing to notice is this. If I run this, notice how here I am counting HOH. So when I entered HOH and followed by another HOH, okay, this is obviously going to give me 2 as the answer. Okay, there are 2 HOH in your word. However, what do you think will be the result when I enter this? Is this one occurrence or 2 occurrences? Because you can say that there are 2 occurrences. This is 1 and this is 2. However, when you run this, you will get 1 as the answer because count function is basically counting how many non-overlapping occurrences are there in the larger string. So we are counting non-overlapping. There is only one HOH that does not overlap with any other occurrences. Okay, again, count is basically counting non-overlapping occurrences. Okay, next method or next function is find. This is giving me the index where this letter is or this string is starting. Basically, here we are searching for H. Okay, and there are two H's here. Find will give me the index of the first occurrence. So when I run this, I will get 0. Here I don't have H, so when I run this, find will give me -1. Okay, -1 is Python ways to indicate there is no H inside welcome. Okay, now what do you think will be the result when I search for HO and hello holiday? Now HO is present here, okay? And the index where HO starts is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So HO will start at index 6. So find will basically return number 6 as a result. Find is looking for the index where the string starts in the larger string. So only the starting index of HO will appear, only 6. We don't have 7. Okay. Next function is startswith. And from the name, you can guess that here we are checking that that welcome is starting with WE. So since this is true, welcome actually start with WE. I will print V1. The second function is we are checking that ES is the end of welcome, or welcome is ending with ES. This is obviously false. There is no ES at the end of welcome. So I will print V2. Now, one important thing to notice here that these functions are different from the previous functions. So before we've seen print absolute value round, where you have the function name, then parentheses, and you put the argument between the parentheses. In the string functions we've seen, you have something, then a dot, then the name of the function, like find, then parentheses and argument. Okay. Now this part, the dot and the sum and the object or the variable before the dot does not appear in these function we've seen before. And for this reason, we call, okay, or basically, this is why these are methods, okay? These are different from the functions we've seen earlier. They are still function. They are a specific type of function we call methods. You'll see later in a future video. So basically, the correct way of using the string function is to start from the string you are analyzing, then a dot, in the name of the function, then the appropriate argument between the parentheses. Okay. So let's talk about more functions. Isdigit basically is checking whether your input is all numbers. Okay. So here you are asking the user enter a number. Whenever you ask a user to do something, you have no control over their input. Okay, so even if you ask them to enter a number, they can basically type anything on the keyboard. So if you want to make sure they in fact enter the number, you can use isdigit, okay, which will basically analyze the input of the user to make sure every character in that input is a digit, which is anything from 0 to 9. So if you put 25, this is all digits. So you will print thank you. However, if the user types hello, 33, this is not all digits, okay? First 5 characters are not digits, so this will be false. User input dot digit will be false, and you will print try again, please. What do you think about -9 6? Okay, this is giving you try again, please, which means this is false. But why is this the case? Because the dash sign, the negative sign, is not a digit. Okay, it's not something from 0 to 9. So this digit still will give you false. Same thing for the decimal point in 2.3. Okay. You have this digit. Similarly, you have isalpha, which is from the name, we'll check that all the characters in the input are just letters. So hello will basically consisting of all letters. So this is alpha function will be true, and you will print thank you. Anything other than letters like numbers or a space, even a space, will result in this function being false because a space is not a letter. Okay, so there's something in this input or in this string that does not represent a letter, so its alpha will return false, and you will try again, please. You can mix numbers and letters using this function isnnum. L is short for alpha, num is short for numerical or number. So when you type hello 3, now this is a string consisting of only letters and numbers. So isalnum is going to return true, and you will print thank you. If you type anything like 3h question mark, the question mark is not a letter, it's not a number. So isalnum is returning false, and you will have try again, please. Okay, from the name of this function, you can guess that it is basically making sure your entire string is consisting of uppercase letters. So hello in this case is all uppercase. So this is going to give you true, and you will print the string is all uppercase. Islower will do the opposite. It will make sure your entire string is only consisting of lowercase letters. And in this case, it is not. So this is returning false, and you will print there are some capital case letters. Now, it is space. Okay, let's see if you can get what is the result of this function. So if I just type some spaces in the input rectangle here, user input is now a string consisting of just spacing. So is space is going to return what? True. So this is returning true, and you will print the string is all white spaces. Okay, so these are the functions or the string methods we want to go over today. Let's move to the last part of the video, input validation. Input validation is basically one application of if statement. You are, or you need to make sure that the user input is exactly what you want from them. So let's take an example to explain this idea. Write a program that reads the test score of a student from the user and prints whether the student passed the test or not. Okay. Assume test score can only be a whole number between 0 and 5 inclusive, and the passing score is 3. So you will read number from the user. This number should be integer or whole number, should be between 0 and 5. And if it is 3 or above, the basically student passes the test. Otherwise, they fail the test. So what we will do before is read score using the input function, then convert it to integer. Then if it is above 3 or equal to 3, I will print congrats, you passed the test. Otherwise, I will print sorry, you have to take the test again. However, this code does not make sure that the user input a correct score according to the rules. So the user can simply run the program and enter 30. However, we specify that the maximum score is just 5. So 30 will result in this message, right? Also, the user can enter anything like hello, which is not a number, which will result in an error. The user also can input a float, which is also not possible because this score can only be a whole number, also result in an error. So how to fix this program to make sure you validate or you make sure the user input what you want them to input? Let's see the solution. Now, I will start simply by reading from the user by the input function. Then I'm going to check if score is digit. Okay, so this actually will eliminate any input that consists of letters or anything other than digits. So if we are sure it is a number, okay, we are going to convert it into integer, right? Now, next, what do you think about this idea of score should only be whole number? Where are we making sure that this is the case? Actually, we are doing this inside is digit, because if the number score consists of a decimal point, is digit to return false. Okay. Similarly, we are making sure it is not negative, because if the input is starting with a dash sign, this digit will return false. So just by simply calling is digit, I am making sure that this is not just a number, it is integer and positive number. Okay, so score is still a string converted to integer. Then I have this check, which is if score is less than 0. However, you can agree that this is redundant. This is not needed, because this is basically checking that the score is not negative, and we are already making sure that it is not negative by using its digit. Because if it's negative, its digit will return false. So there is no need for this first condition. The second condition is basically making sure it is not above 5. So above 5, you print error score cannot be greater than 5. And if it is not greater than 5, you basically have the logic we had earlier. If it is above or equal 3, print congratulations message. Otherwise, print you have to take the test again. Now, what do you think this else branch belongs to? Actually belonging to the first statement because they are on the same indentation level. So basically, if the input is not a digit, or if it is a float, or if it is negative, you will jump from F to else, and you will print error invalid input. Okay. So basically, we mentioned that you don't need this condition. You can just remove it and run the program. If you enter a decimal or a floating point number, you will get error message invalid input. If you entered negative number, also you will have invalid input. If you entered anything above 5, you will have error message. And if you enter the valid input, you will have the appropriate message displayed to you. So that's it for this video, and I will see you on the next one.